We interrupt this program to bring you an important Wayfair message. Wayfair's got style tips for every home. This is Nicole Byer, helping you make those rooms flyer. Today's style tip: when it comes to making a statement, treat bold patterns like neutrals. Go wild! Like an untamed animal print area rug under a rustic farmhouse table from Wayfair.com. Ooh, fierce! This has been your Wayfair style tip to keep those interiors superior.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
If you love entertainment, current events, and Hollywood, don't miss Creator to Creators, hosted by the filmmaker Meosha, known for the Shudder hit documentary Horror Noir and the acclaimed film Anatomy of an Anti-Hero, Redemption. This show features interviews with filmmakers and creatives from around the globe. Join the fun with guest celebrities and gain valuable insights. Subscribe now and follow Creator to Creators.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Creators to Creators today. Today we have a special guest,
Burt Bankkz.
Burt Bankkz. Welcome. I love going back to the beginning. I always say the beginning charts our trajectory in life. I always say that, it's all the little habits that we pick up along the way follow us into our adulthood. Tell me a little bit about your childhood. What was that like? And how did you find your way into doing the things that you're doing?
Growing up, as far as music, I used to always I was always into music because my big brother, he used to rap as well. And I used to always listen to him rap and record his stuff and stuff. And sometimes I'll go in there with him and then we'll make songs together. And then sooner or later he ended up just stop rapping, and I just ended up just and kept it going.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also growing up, I was in and out of the juvenile and center and stuff. So I used that time when I was locked up to work on my craft as well. That's when I really realized this is something that I really want to get into when I get out.
So when you were in juvenile, if you don't mind kind of elaborating more on that. So how old were you exactly? 15, 14?
I started going in and out of the juvenile detention center when I was 12, 13, I say.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
around 12, 13. Yeah.
Wow. So do you feel like obviously when you're there, was it just because of you didn't like going to school, like academics, you wasn't trying to do that thing, or was it boredom?
It was just really
Yeah.
because I was really in the streets much, and I was really leaning towards the streets life more, and I was really was worried about getting money fast, really.
Yeah, I get that. So do you feel like too, especially when it comes to music, right? Like that I was watching something the other day. I think it was either T-Pain or someone, I think it was some rapper. They were talking about how growing up, the music world kind of glorified the street life or gang activity in the music world and rap culture. And somehow a lot of, sorry?
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Just rap culture, right? It glorifies it, like the street life, right? The gang activity or whatnot. How the rap music industry seemed like it did. And he talked about how growing up for a lot of African-American men, that was something that was, it just kind of drew people into that world of oh, I can have this money and have the girls and have the cars and, I can get out of all, whatever circumstances. Do you feel like rap growing up, that was a part of the reason why, too, getting money was such a thing? Because I guess a lot of our rap, hip hop heroes, kind of glorified it in a way.
which I kind of agree. Yes, I kind of agree because and the type of music we were listening to back then was glorifying those kind of things, those kind of activities we were engaging in and stuff. So yeah, so that's kind of right in a way.
Yeah. Do you feel like once you were in there, did you feel like, okay, now I don't want to do this anymore. I'm gonna, or
Yeah,
was it just like,
I just felt like I could do better with myself. I could do better with my life. Like I could make better decisions because like
hmm
I'm not a dumb kid. I'm not a dumb dude. I just have
hmm
to and by myself. That's all. And that's basically how I thought of it as. And then as well before I wasn't really around people who was into rapping like that or who was trying to rap like that. So I wasn't really interested in it like that as well. I mean, I knew how to rap, but I just wasn't really trying to push it like that.
mm-hmm. So when you got out and now that you're back, what made you say, you know what, I'm going to do this music full on. I'm gonna give it all I have. Like, well, how old were you when you kind of made that decision for yourself?
It was like I say
hmm
I was like 20, 21,
Oh,
around 20.
okay.
Yeah, it was like a little bit after because after that those situations I ended up in going to prison and after my prison sentence that's when I took rapping full time.
Okay. How long were you in prison for?
Well, I was supposed to do in 3 years in prison and 3 years probation, but I had a modified sentence because I went to something called in BTU. It's a boot camp program where you do 4 months and whatever time you had it gets converted into probation, which I took advantage of that situation where when I was in prison for like 8 months and then I ended up going to the boot camp program. I did four
Mm,
months. So I ended up only doing a year of that sentence and I got out and I just hit the ground running.
amazing, amazing. And you never look back. So
No,
what,
never go back. Nope.
I love that. So it just was a decision. Was it what, like, and I don't know if you want to talk about it in detail of the things that you did see. I'm sure there were some really interesting people that you met that just kind of made bad decisions that ended up in there. But um
I mean, yeah, I
do
mean, you'll run across a lot of people like people that'll tell you like they messed up like their whole life is over just over stupid decisions and stuff like that. Like you see people that would never see the never see daylight again, like, and that just like makes you feel like dang, like I don't want to go through this. I don't want to like get what I'm saying, like so
Mhm.
yeah.
I love that you decided to not, go back and do that and make that change. Because really that's what it was. It's like, I think with any journey or anybody in life, right? We all have to make a decision, you know, what we're
Yes.
gonna do with our life. Like at some point, it's like, okay, what do I want to do? And how do I go and get it, right?
Yeah.
Um, so you get out, and I'm sure that was kind of tough to get into the music world. So what was the first thing you did as far as like getting yourself back, getting like immersing yourself into the music world?
Well, it really took a little time because I was fresh out, you know. I had to get back on my feet and everything, so I started working at Burger King for a while, became a manager there. Then after working at Burger King, after making a certain amount of money, I started my own business. Actually, I started my own mobile detailing business which I still run to this day on. And I just used my business to leverage my rap career and go from there and just yeah,
So like you didn't know, like, did you have any mentors, or you just kind of did this all on your own just by
just all on
studying and figuring out?
studying and figuring out really.
Wow, that's incredible. Now, would you say, because a lot of people, I mean, obviously now you know this, the music world is very it's a very tough industry to get into because it's a bunch of people doing music, right? It's um what's like one of the biggest lessons you learned when you were, since you've been doing music?
I say one of the biggest lessons I learned is being consistent.
Mm,
Consistency, really. And you can't just spend your whole budget on just one thing, and you know you got, especially if you're independent. Like, well, I'm
Yeah.
not at the point where I'm trying to label yet, so it's like I'm doing everything by myself, and you
Hmm.
can't just spend your whole budget on this. When you know you got to balance for, you got to, get what I'm saying? Like, you have to start like thinking about your finances and stuff. You got to start really budgeting everything.
Hmm. Budget. Now that's a big one, right? Like that, that's something that I hear a lot of independent people always bring up. And I mean, it's a real thing. Like, even in myself, my background film, having a budget, having money to create your projects or your visuals or the music, because you got to master, you got to do masters, you got to go in the studio. There's studio
Yeah,
costs, beats,
the
producers, like
whole
all
thing.
this other stuff, right? So
Yeah.
tell me about your process of making this amazing single that you have called, Dreams, and the process of making that.
Well, and while the song is mostly about dealing with like the everyday obstacles that try to stop us from reaching our full potential in life, and
Mhm.
about pushing for the best, no matter what. I was motivated to write the song because I wanted to tap into like a newer audience and different audience from what I normally was doing. Because normally I'll do like hard rap, stuff like that.
Mm.
But I feel like I could touch a different crowd as well, and I have a different potential as well. So I feel like I want to try both aspects instead of just sticking to just one sound.
I love that. I think it's absolutely important to do that. Like, isn't that what I mean, a lot of people have done, like the whole like the crossover where it's like I think T-Pain's done it. I think Beyonce's done it with her Cowboy Carter album. Like she's doing country, but she's also
Yeah,
R&B. It's just like cross-pollinating, which is I think brilliant for artists to do. And I think that's part of artistry. Like
yeah,
Nelly actually did it with, I think it was back in like when he did that country joint rap album, right?
oh yeah,
And
yeah.
so it's the nuances, right? It's the just changing your sound and getting a different audience. Do you so with when you're making this song, are you in the like room with the producer? Are you like how involved are you when it comes to the process of the music?
Well, and well, with this song, first, well, I create songs different ways because sometimes I go to the studio and be recording one song and I hear a beat and I'll make a whole nother song that whole day just off that one beat.
Nice.
So it's like so it's different ways that I create. But but certain songs I just feel like I have to spend more time on. I feel like I really want to impact. I want to feel a little bit more. I take my time and write it.
Do you make beats at all?
No.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, you just kind of stick to this the lyric writing. So you write your own lyrics as well.
Yes.
I love that. There was this article, I think it was Drake, and somebody was talking about Drake and how he has a ghostwriter. How do you feel about rappers who have ghostwriters? Do you feel like it's fair? Do you feel like it's unfair? Because, he's considerably one of the greatest rappers of all time.
At the end of the day, whatever gets the bills paid, whatever in whatever strategy, whatever method is working. I mean, go with it. I mean, that's what's working for him. Obviously, I mean,
Yeah, for sure. Who's
I don't see
who's
nothing. I don't see nothing really wrong with that. Really.
Yeah. No, I agree. There's just like those artists like your Jay-Z's, right? He can walk into a booth and don't have a pen or a pad. He just kind of goes off the dome like his head, and which is
Yeah.
absolutely crazy and it's incredible. You have your Eminems, right? Those artists that can
Yeah.
just walk into a booth and just kind of just riff, and he writes all his content, and it's
Yeah.
he's probably one of the greatest lyricists I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like you said, to your point of, yeah, it's to get the bills paid. But I also believe that there's something about when someone authentically writes something themselves and it comes from you, like it's naturally, it's like it feels more
That's
real, it
yeah,
feels more
and
connected.
that's why I rather write my own. Like me personally,
Yeah.
like I said, I don't see there's nothing wrong with in ghostwriting, but I personally would rather write my own lyrics and stuff because I like you say, like it hits different. It hits
Yeah.
different than
It
listening to
really
it.
does.
Yeah, it hits different.
Yeah, and I think too, and it doesn't really matter about how long you've been writing or your level, your resume. I feel like if people connect to you, that's that's what you want, right? You want
Yeah,
people to connect to, the person that is delivering the song. And I think too, with when I was listening to your song, the song Dreams, what I did feel was like it felt so real and tangible. So to hear the background of growing up and going through this, through the system, right? And being in juvenile to prison to getting out to doing the things, like it, you feel that emotion because it's real. Like there's some people that can rap about it, but they've never been through it. So it's
yeah,
different when you've actually been through the struggle and coming out of the on the other side. It kind of makes people more like, like, respect
yeah,
you more in a way.
yeah.
So yeah, that's I really enjoyed that about the dreams. Um, so what's I love this question, and I think I'm curious of your answer. Um, but if you could have coffee with any rapper, living or dead, who would it be and why?
I say 50 Cent
Really? Ah, that's a good one. That's a great one. Why would you want to have coffee with 50 Cent?
because I feel like and 50 Cent is like he's more than just a rapper. He's like a creator. He's an entrepreneur.
Hmm.
He's a jack of all trades. He basically does it all. And the type of that's the type that's what I wanna kind of be like as far as taking this music stuff somewhere. Because I want to elevate from music and try to do something different. And
Absolutely.
get in a film or something, or get into anything different to touch different aspects of stuff. I don't want to be bound to just music. So
Yeah. I love that. I mean, I feel like it's why not, right? As a
yeah,
creative, I think it's important to kind of jump into different avenues because your creative expression is going to be shown in, differently to different audience and just the people that you're going to meet in those different genres, of the field that you're jumping into. I think that's great. I love that. That's a great answer. 50 Cent's great. I think he actually opened up a studio or something in Shreveport, Louisiana recently.
you
So
said
I
it.
hear, yeah, yeah, he opened up a studio or like a film stuff, like stuff for the community, stuff in the music. So it's going to bring a lot of like business in
Yeah,
Shreveport, which is awesome.
yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. So I was reading too, about like just the violence in Fort Lauderdale and Florida and growing up and with how growing up and the hardship and the violence and that neighborhood in Fort Lauderdale. What would you like, what is your goal? Like say, you get to that level of fame. Is it about helping reaching back and you know getting
Yes, of
those
course.
kids
Yes,
out of those neighborhoods?
yes. That's one of my top priorities and top goals is to give back to the community and give back to the neighborhood.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. That's a beautiful thing
But like I
because
said,
it like
I just want to focus on I don't want to be like I don't want to be known as like just a regular just other rapper that he just yeah that's just the same old rapper like he rapping about the same thing he's doing the same thing everybody else is doing.
right.
I want to actually make an impact for myself. I want to actually make a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Absolutely. So that leads me to my next question. All right. The three levels of influence: money, power, and respect. And if you could choose only one of those things, which one would you choose and why?
Uh, that's money, power, and respect. I mean, to be honest, I'll probably go with to be to be real.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably go with money.
Mm-hmm.
Then because because if you have the money's gonna bring the power and the respect. If you have money, I wouldn't really care if somebody respect me or not. Like you're gonna have to respect me.
Hmm. Right. I like that. It's a great answer. So also read that you drove 20 hours from Fort Lauderdale to Oklahoma City to shoot a video. And I when I read that, I was like, that's what it takes. That's what it takes when you can, go out and because you believe in what you're doing, right? That you're not going to let 20 hours like just I mean most people will be like, nah, I guess I'm not going to do all that. But the fact that seriously, that's
Yeah.
commendable. Like I think that's absolutely amazing. And it's literally, what your song is about, dreams of hustling and doing the work and putting in the work. Um, Tell me about that process. Like how did that video shoot go?
Well, to be what it was awesome. It was awesome, and the video. I met the videographer and online. Actually, I didn't know her. She and I locked in with her online, and once we got there, I met up with her and everything. She was good, and we had a blast, man. We had a blast. I had a chance to meet T-Rell for the first time, and we talked and everything, and yeah, man, it was a nice experience.
That's cool. And I love that it's a woman that you reached out to do this. That's pretty
Yeah, and
cool.
that was the first time. That was the first time a woman actually shot a video for me,
Wow, I
and on
love
first
that.
and only time. To be honest, yeah. And she did a good job. Actually, it was pretty good.
Awesome. Yeah, women can do it. Like that's what I went to
Yeah.
that's what I studied film for cinematography. So good kudos to her. There's women out here doing it. So good on you. I like that. I like that. So you're are you do you feel that Florida is like getting better when it comes to like as far as like music world, like is are people doing a lot of music in Florida? Because I know when I
Yeah,
was
I
growing
feel
up,
like
it wasn't as much as it
yeah.
is now,
Now
I
back
think.
then, no, but now, like as far as the last, I say within the last 8 years and still going on forward, I say Florida has been doing it a little bit. Florida, yeah, Florida has a couple artists like what Raw Wave, Kodak Black, Young and Ace, what the guy Julio. It's a lot of them from Florida. It's a lot of them from Florida.
Nice. No, it's Florida is definitely starting to come on the map. I remember growing up, it wasn't, man, it was like Florida was just like a small like like alligators and it's like nothing happening. But like now it's definitely changed. I love that.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So, now that you've been in the business of music, do you feel like independent artists, you know, it's things are changing in favor of the artists nowadays? Because, you look at your Billboard charts, independent artists are also going against seasoned artists. It's the same, and you're trying to get on that chart, top 20, whatever. Uh, and it's, do you feel like the independent artistry and is because nowadays we got your AI that can help us get stuff out and get stuff done faster than it was in the Stone Ages back in the day, some years ago. um, do you feel like indie rappers are given a fair shot and it's getting better for indie artists out there?
Well, I feel like as an indie artist, it's never gonna be kind of a fair shot because you have to real deal grind. You have to. It's not like you have a record label that's basically almost that's basically pushing the machine behind you. Like you have to create your own machine if you're the indie artist. So it's like it's gonna always be tougher, but it's gonna come out better if you execute it the right way.
Hmm. Yeah.
So yeah.
I agree with that. Like, you get those people like, and you hear those stories, I'm sure you've heard these stories of like people that sign record deals and they get into these really bad deals and it's with a big
Yeah.
corporation and they're like, I got $1 million, but then they're like, oh, that $1 million is my tour is going to come out of that, my clothing, my
Right.
whole thing, the dancers, right? And then by
Mhm.
the time you go on tour for about 6 months, you're like completely broke and you owe you're like in bed with the corporation, the company that signed you. So it's like it's a never ending cycle. So I do believe there are good deals out there for sure, 100%.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
I also do believe independent because you can keep all your residuals, your the you can X out essentially the middleman, right?
Huh?
And so that's more money in your pocket.
Or
That
even if you have to, you could leverage your label deal to boost to boost your own catalog. So when you do get independent or whatever,
very
it's all
true.
it's just ways around everything.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of people don't really know that, right? Because it's just because it's like, yes, entertainment, it is also a business. How
Yeah,
important is learning the aspects of like the business when it comes to music for you?
it's 80% important. It is more important than making the music. 'Cause,
Right.
yes, you're making the music and you don't know how to put it out there. What sense does it?
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Because like what's his name? Chance the Rapper.
Yeah.
He actually when I read something that he was independent, I was like, no way, like how? Like and so it is possible for independent artist or even his own label, right, to like you said, leverage and still be able to uh have way more money in your pocket than being a part of a corporation. But again, I get, and not to knock people who are signed to labels, you have your Glorillas,
Yeah.
nowadays. She's I think she's like from Memphis or something.
Yes, from Memphis.
Um, and she got on by Yo Gotti,
Yeah.
who, and I think people were saying in interviews, like she was talking in interviews about like, they're like, oh, well, you shouldn't sign Yo Gotti because he only gave you $500,000. But what I think she understood is that they both come from Memphis. So he understands her sound, what's going to work for the charts, right?
Mhm.
And
And the
certain
thing
labels,
is, it's not
yeah,
about the $500,000. It's what you do with them $500,000
exactly.
that matters.
Exactly. Exactly. So I think that was a good deal. I think she took I think he actually understands her versus the bigger, like Sony. She said Sony came to her and even, Motown Music and record label. And she was like, no, and she's like, everyone's like, you're making a big bad decision. I'm like, I think she made a good decision personally,
Yeah, me
you know?
too.
So what is your goal for the next 2 years from now? What would you want your music and just your career in general to be?
Well, I plan on touring a lot more and touring a lot and basically reaching out to new artists and collabing with new artists and
Love that.
reaching out to new fans and touching every aspect of the industry that I can and flipping and leaving no stones unturned.
I love that. Well, your mouth to God's ears, I'm sure it will happen. 100%. What advice would you give to, anyone, that young boy, that young girl that wants to, give this music world or just entertainment business a try?
Well, my only advice would be to is to start. Actually, that's where you have to begin is to actually start. Because
Right.
yeah, and once you get it started, you have to stay consistent. You have to stay consistent. Because if you don't stay consistent, these people are gonna forget about you. They barely know you, and if you don't stay consistent, they're gonna forget about you.
That's true. That's very true. That's really good to start. What's the biggest lesson that you've learned so far on this journey, this wild journey called life?
Well, biggest lesson I learned is you get whatever you put in. Whatever you put in, that's whatever you're gonna get out of it.
You speak the man. You're preaching today. That's so true, right? Like it's
Yeah.
it's it's the law of attraction.
Yep.
Whatever you put in, you will get out. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Do you feel like some people back in Florida, like I'm sure people that you grew up with are like, man, look at you, you're doing the things. I bet they're super proud of you.
Yeah, you got people that's proud, and you also got haters as well.
Oh yeah, those people.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep,
I always say if you didn't have them, right, then that means you're not doing something right.
that's true. True.
Right? As much as I think haters also, it's just I was talking to somebody about that, about how, and I don't know if you how what you feel about this, but the concept of like bad things, people don't they're like, I don't want bad things to happen, but actually it's important for some things to for bad things to happen in our career because it teaches us the biggest lessons of like,
Yeah.
oh, not what I don't need to do, or you grow the most
Yeah,
out
that's
of
the
like
thing. Yeah.
hardship.
Yeah, yeah, and as one thing, you're gonna go through things. You can't take them as losses. You gotta take them as lessons. Like you just
Hmm.
said, you have to take everything as a lesson.
Absolutely. Absolutely. How do you feel about AI? Are you into it? Are you not into it?
Not really, not yet, not yet.
Well,
But
that's
I'm,
good.
yeah, but I'm gonna start getting into it though, cause I heard then AI is good as far as especially for growing your business and stuff. And
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean it's like it does the work that one person can do, but it does like a 10-man job. So you like essentially can go to sleep and it'll like work for you, which
yeah,
honestly I think is a game changer for independence because it actually just kind of cuts down the costs that you would have to do and the labor that you would
uh-huh,
have to go into making music.
uh-huh.
Um, do you have a quote or I don't know, something that you do when you kind of start feeling down and you feel like, oh my God, I don't think this is even worth doing anymore? What keeps you going?
Well, when I well, to be honest, I just think about where I don't want to be. I just think about the past stuff that I've been through, and because at one point in time I was homeless as well at a point in time, and I just think about the past situations that I've been through, and that motivates me. That's enough motivation by itself to encourage me to not want to give up.
Love that. I love that. Absolutely. Where can people find you on social media to follow that everything you have going on?
You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Burt Banks, BurtBankz, YouTube, Burt Banks, and you can follow me on my website. It's BigBankKKZENT.com, BigBanksENT.com.
Love that. Big banks.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you, and thank you for sharing your story and thank you for sharing your art with the world. I
no
appreciate
problem. Anytime, anytime.
that. And thank you all for listening. And always remember to live, love, laugh. We'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.